Hey class, so we're going to proceed to our next topic. But before that, let's have a recap of what we had last time, which is the accounting equation. So sabi sa accounting equation, assets equals liabilities plus owner's equity. So makikita natin dito that the assets should not be bigger or smaller than the liabilities plus owner's equity. It should always be equal. So proceed na tayo sa five major accounts. Sa five major accounts, we have the assets, the liabilities, and the capital or the owner's equity, which we have discussed earlier, the income and the expenses. For this YouTube video, we will be going through deeper sa mga five major accounts na to. Makikita natin na merong mga accounts under these five major accounts. So una, punta muna tayo sa assets. What are the assets? Paano natin masasabi na assets yung mga nakikita natin sa business? So, these are resources owned and controlled by the firm. So, masasabi natin na asset yung isang bagay kung ito ay pag-aari at nakokontrol ng firm. Have you ever heard na yung isang tao, halimbawa empleyado ka, na masabihan ka na asset ka ng kumpanya? But actually, it is wrong because the business never owned yung kanyang empleyado. So, it's wrong to say na yung empleyado is an asset of the company. So, these only involves resources, yung mga bagay-bagay lang, and a present economic resource controlled by the entity as a result of past events. So, pwedeng ito ay binili, yung mga ganon. So, result ng past events, pwedeng ito ay dinonate, kaya siya napunta sa business. It is an economic resource, a right that has the potential to produce economic benefits. So, through these assets, sabi niya, meron tong potential na makapag-benefit economically yung business. So, yun yung kailangan ng mga criteria para masabing asset yon. So, we also have to learn na merong classification yung assets. It could be current assets and the non-current assets. So, what are the differences between the two? The current assets, these are assets that can be realized, collected, sold, used up 1 year after the year-end date. So, sabi dito, ito yung mga pag-aari ng business na pwedeng makolekta, pwedeng mabenta, at pwede lang magamit after 1 year after the year-end date. When we say the year-end date, usually ito yung December 31 ng current year. So, let's say for 2021, ang year-end date natin is December 31, 2021. So, yung current assets natin, pwede siyang makolekta, mabenta, at magamit hanggang December 31, 2022 lang. So, ano yung mga examples nito? These are cash, notes receivable, accounts receivable, merchandise inventories, supplies, prepaid expenses, accrued income, and short-term investments. So, class, pag naka-encounter nyo sa klase nyo, you can definitely classify it as current assets. Ano naman yung non-current assets? So, ibig sabihin, ito yung kabaliktaran ng current assets, ano? These are assets that cannot be realized, collected, sold, used up 1 year after year-end date. So, sabi dito, hindi mo siya pwedeng makolekta 1 year after year-end date, hindi mo siya pwedeng mabenta 1 year after year-end date, at magagamit mo siya even 1 year after year-end date. So, ano yung example niya? We have the property, plant, and equipment, the long-term investments, and the intangible assets. Aside from the current and non-current assets, we can also classify our assets as tangible and intangible assets. So, intangible assets, these are physical assets such as cash, supplies, and furnitures and fixtures. Ito yung mga bagay na pwede mong mahawakan physically. Yung intangible assets naman, kabaliktaran nun, these are non-physical assets such as patents and trademarks. So for our assets, ayun na nga, uulitin natin, these are cash, accounts receivable, notes receivable, merchandise inventories, supplies. It also includes property, plant, and equipment, short-term and long-term investments, and intangible assets. Ngayon, mas kikilalanin pa natin sila isa-isa. Cash. So, paano natin masasabi na cash? Usually, we know na yung cash, ito yung mga peso bill, ito yung mga coins na nahawakan natin. Pero actually, it's more than that. Sabi nga dito, it is money on hand or in banks and other items considered as medium of exchange in business transaction. So, kung meron bukod sa money on hand or money in banks, yung mga items na pwede nating ibili, no, it is considered as cash. Sabi dito, a bank will accept for deposit at face value. It includes coins, currency, checks, money orders, bank deposits, and drafts. Ano naman yung accounts receivable? These are amounts due from customers arising from credit sales or credit services. So for accounts receivable, we always, para mas makita natin yung point of view, isipin natin na tayo yung business owner, di ba? So tayo yung nagbebenta. When we say accounts receivable, ito yung mga pera na marireceive natin from our customers kasi binentahan natin sila o kaya inavail nila yung services natin. Ano naman yung notes receivable? These are amounts due from clients supported by promissory notes. A note receivable is a written pledge that the customer will pay the business a fixed amount of money on a certain date. So the difference nito from the accounts receivable, this time yung notes receivable is supported with a promissory note. Yung promissory note nakalagay doon kung kailan siya magbabayad at kung magkano yung babayaran niya. So that time, we can classify that receivable as notes receivable. Another one is the merchandise inventories. These are assets which are held for sale in the ordinary course of business. It is in the process of production for such sale and the form of material or supplies to be consumed in the production process or in the rendering of services. So when we say merchandise inventories, these are inventories na meron tayong intention na ibenta. So kung meron tayong business na milk tea, yung milk tea yung mga ginagamit natin para makabuo ng milk tea. These are inventories. These are merchandise inventories. Dito naman, we have the supplies. These are items purchased by an enterprise which are unused as of the reporting date. So, the difference between merchandise inventories and supplies, ito yung supplies naman, ito yung mga gamit natin na we don't have the intention na ibenta. Pero ginagamit natin siya para mag-operate yung business natin. So, let's say we have sari-sari store. We can classify yung notebook natin, yung ballpen natin, yung calculator natin, yung gunting na ginagamit natin sa pagtitinda na supplies. And then, yung mga binibenta naman natin, pwede natin sabihin na sila yung merchandise inventories. Then, we will go to property, plant, and equipment. It involves 3 parts, the property, the plant, and equipment. Pero, pinag-isa na siya dito. These are long-lived assets which have been acquired for use in operation. So, sabi nga natin, non-current siya. So, pang-matagalan talaga to. It included such items as land, building, machinery, and equipment, furniture and fixtures, motor vehicles, and equipment. So, yung lifespan nito tumatagal ng 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, and so on. Short and long-term investments. Short-term investments, these are investments made by the company that are intended to be sold immediately. So, yung business kasi natin, meron siyang potential na bumili ng investments sa iba pang business. So, when we say short-term investments, pwede natin siyang ibenta o kaya i-turn into pera immediately. Pag sinabi naman nating long-term, these are investments made by the company for long-term purposes. So, ginawa natin yun na alam natin na hindi natin siya kagad mako-convert into pera. Pang long-term talaga siya. So, ito na nga, intangible assets. Ito na nga yung mga non-monetary assets without physical substance. It could be held for use in the production of supply of goods and services. For example nito, goodwill, patents, copyrights, licenses, franchises, trademarks, brand names, secret processes, subscription lists, and non-competition agreements. Pinakamagandang example nito na ma-appreciate natin, no? Intangible asset. We can say na halimbawa, software. No? Kapag bumili tayo ng software, hindi natin siya mahawakan. But definitely, nagpo-form part siya sa business natin. So now we're done with the assets, which is one of the 5 major accounts. For the rest of it, I encourage you to watch the part 2, which is included on the next YouTube video.